Seriously, fuck your family of origin. I mean that in the kindest way. I want to chat about that today. It's a big part of my transformation. I'm currently no contact with my family. I might contact them over Christmas. I'm not sure. A lot of things have developed in the last 48 hours about me moving overseas. So I feel like I'm not going to probably move without seeing them. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm not, they're not, they are, it is a toxic situation. I wouldn't go no contact if it wasn't. And it took me 40 years to go no contact. In fact, I'll talk about that in a minute. They're still nice people. They're just different. I'm just different from them. And that's what I want to talk about today, is being different and being misunderstood and mistreated in your family, disrespected in your family, and being the family scapegoat. Simply because you're different, and then everyone gets in the habit of treating you like crap. Honestly, family scapegoats need to cut the cord. A lot of us are financially dependent. We can't mature. We can't grow up. We're like kids, even though we're over our 30s and 40s. The family scapegoat just simply will not succeed if they do not cut the cord. You will not succeed as the family scapegoat. You have to change that dynamic somehow. The easiest way, well, probably the only way, is to cut the cord. Get your own independence, get your own way of thinking, back yourself. The truth is, nobody gets you, nobody understands when you speak, because the family scapegoat is a superior person. And I don't care who comes for me about that. I will die on this hill. It is a fact to me that you're just 2 steps ahead of them with every thought. Your boundaries, not your boundaries, your mental horizons stretch so much further than any of theirs do. Even the most laid back, open-minded member of your family has limits that are so much closer than yours are. Yours are infinity or close to infinity. Theirs are, like I like to say, 100 meters. But even the most laid back person in your family, their horizon might be a kilometer, 10 kilometers. They might be like, yeah, go live overseas. You don't have to go to uni. Or, I mean, those are very basic examples. But your horizons, what you can achieve, is so much bigger. And not only that, your intellect, your ability to imagine and create, everything you do is so easy for you because you are a superior being. And I truly believe, and I'll talk about this in a video soon about disrespect, but I truly believe that God, you can call it the universe or whatever God that is your belief, I truly believe He puts us in the situations to be surrounded by inferior or difficult beings who will treat you like crap so that you can learn to back yourself and transcend. They treat you badly when they have those limits. You probably let people be themselves. They all gang up and back each other in a lifestyle and a way of life that is not necessarily the truth. It doesn't have to be that way. But you are so powerful that when you speak, they misunderstand you, sometimes intentionally misunderstand you. And you have so much power that it actually scares people when you talk. Like, I like to use as an example Taylor Swift. I'll probably use her in other videos. She used to do these videos where, these talk show interviews where when she would just make a joke or say something, everyone would be like, whoa, like the crowd will kind of go silent or act like she was having a dig at someone or something like that. And it's because they're not on her level. So they don't understand her, and they feel her power, and then they are afraid of her. And I'm not a Swiftie, you know, I don't have mad love for Taylor Swift or anything. I just think it's a really easy, good example, clear example that I can give is if you watch some of her previous interviews in past years, how sometimes when she talks, when she makes a joke, when she says an answer, the crowd just doesn't quite get it. that is probably how your family treat you. They just are scared when you open your mouth. They're scared when you talk. And it's actually a ridiculous way to be treated by a family, but they don't know any better. You know, our families just do the best that they can. If we zoom out on humanity, and there's like a rainbow of family types, it seems like there should be like a rainbow, that nothing is normal. But to me, it feels like there's just two types. There's toxic or there's not toxic. And I learned from Patrick T, and I've mentioned before that if a family has a scapegoat, then that family is toxic. You know, there's probably a spectrum of like toxicity, but a sign that a family is toxic is having a scapegoat. I mean, that should be enough to open your eyes right there. That opened my eyes and changed everything for me, actually, because until then I was accepting being the family scapegoat for other good traits that they had, or for the fact that I was so financially dependent, or just dependent anyway, because I'm the only girl in my family. I was a little bit helpless. I would like sort of reach out to my brothers. My dad is useless, but my brothers are pretty helpful, and my mum taught me to, you know, put men before me. So I just let them treat me however. I let them be me, let them make me be the scapegoat because of these other good things about my family. But the truth is, it was a toxic situation, and I was in anxiety and stress most of the time because I was being so disrespected. Everything joyful that came out of my mouth was shot down, undermined, second guessed. It's like David Goggins said, if you told them that if you could walk on water, they would say that it's because you can't swim. And in the Bible, Jesus leaves his family behind. I love how savage he is in the Bible, because he is, you know, such an incredible kind of role model, but he doesn't take any shit. And leaving his family behind, he says something about, you know, you're recognized everywhere except in your hometown. And I think the sooner that we scapegoats realize that and cut the cord, the sooner we can be free and experience, holy fuck, the world is just beyond amazing. And I thought, because I was already different from my family, so I was already living out in the beyond amazing world before I cut the cord. So I thought, this is fine. Like, I experienced so much that it's extraordinary. They live pretty ordinary lives, but I still take the toxicity and the disrespect. Well, once I went no contact with them, I mean, the sky's the limit in terms of, I thought that I was experiencing cool things in the world, like world travel, and I've done so much. I've been to some of the world's top restaurants, and yeah, just lived overseas. I lived in China, I lived in Malaysia, I lived in London, I lived in Miami a few months. It's not until you cut the cord that you get to experience this beautiful planet that we actually have available to us. You know, you spend all that time with your family, like I've said this in almost every video, like going to events, listening to family dramas, you know, feeling sad when they feel sad. Like my mom, maybe your mom does this, would contact me about someone I didn't even know and tell me all about their cancer or their kids' new house purchase, or I don't know. That is just all time that I cannot get back. We only live once. We have to be extremely protective of our time and not waste it on people who don't even think like us. So to me, there's toxic families and there's not toxic families, and I think the sooner you recognize that and jump out of it, the better. If we look at it in terms of past, present, and future, it kind of gives us a little framework to discuss it and look at it. The past, I gave entirely to my family, I guess you could say, because I gave it to the way I was brought up, the society I was brought up in, going to school, making decisions based on what people in my family would think, what was normal for us. So I gave 40 plus years. I gave loyalty, and I was completely disrespected the entire time, but also we all had the same sense of humor. We laughed. There'd be good times, there'd be great times. Sometimes we travel together, you know, and then my brothers had kids, or one each, so that's like a milestone. That's so beautiful. But like, when you think back to your past, how many years or even decades have you given to what is considered the social norm and the normal way of life in your family? And do you want to maybe try and experience a new way of life before you die? If we bring it into the present, when I brought it into the present, oh my gosh, and I looked squarely at the type of people that I was, and I'm talking about my close, immediate family of origin, that I was really placing so much attention and energy on. I was in group chats with my brothers. I got their advice on everything. I overshared and really put myself in vulnerable situations, considering when you're the scapegoat, you're not treated well for your opinion on things and things that you want to say and share. When I squarely looked at who they were as people, one by one, I realized I should not be sharing with them, taking advice from them. I understand. I want them to live their absolute dream life, but you have to pay attention to, are they going to, I don't know, support what you say? I think the best example for me is my little brother, who I sort of thought was my one hope, who kind of gets me the most, and he understands that the others have like serious limitations, and he's a bit more like open in the world. But then I realized, actually, I looked at him more closely and I realized, no, actually, he is still super closed-minded and also doesn't really have like the best taste in things and stuff like that. So why is he deciding what is cool, what is acceptable? So in the present moment, stop and think and look at them objectively as people and think, is it objectively or subjectively? I always get them mixed up. But anyway, look at them as people and think, because as scapegoats, yeah, this is a much more accurate like description of it. As scapegoats, we are so loyal, we actually give them a lot more credit than they deserve, because we love people. We just have so much respect for every being on the planet. So we let them seem so much more worthy of judging us than they actually are. So I hope that I made that point clearly, but do they have any wisdom? So look in the present at the people around you. Are they closed-minded, and yet you're still giving them props and going to them for advice? And then there's also the future element. So I was so attached to my family. I was so distracted, like I said, by just family dramas or events or good times and bad times. I was dependent on the family, and the toxic family dynamic was in every single interaction. Do I want that in my future? Do you want that in your future? You know, now that I have gone no contact, it's just total peace. I can stop, I can think, I don't have to be anxious. Am I going to be shut down? Am I going to be told I'm like causing trouble? You just don't have any of that. Sometimes you might still have rumination, which is where you kind of have imaginary conversations where you get to stand up to people in your family. If they treat you as a scapegoat, and if you're not sure if your family treats you as a scapegoat or if they're toxic, but you ruminate and have anxiety about possible conversations you might have to have with the golden child, with other siblings, with your parents, then that's a pretty good sign that you're a scapegoat. So think of it in those terms of past, present, and future. And yeah, I just want to reiterate, if you're the scapegoat, I mean, you're not going to succeed. You need to not be a scapegoat anymore in order to honestly leave them behind. When you reach new heights, then you can, from a better vantage point, decide if you want to get back in contact. But honestly, in terms of your self-worth and your value, fuck your family of origin. If they're toxic, if you were not born into one of the good ones, you were born into the other one, which is toxic, then you don't owe them anything. You do not owe them anything. You were probably born into that situation for a reason. The reason being you were supposed to learn how to cut the cord and get out. So I hope this encourages you. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.